Good morning. I hope that you're having a nice day. I've realised that I've not actually talked to you yet in this video. I always do that and then I go to edit and I realise I've got like 30 minutes of video with no talking at all and no context or anything. So, hello, hi, it's Saturday morning. I'm not normally in Turin on a Saturday, but I'm going out with some friends tomorrow. We're going on a really fun Sunday outing to see the autumn leaves mainly, but we're visiting a really nice part of my region and showing it to a friend who's from a different region of Italy, and so she's never seen it. And so we booked a nice restaurant and we're gonna go, for a walk, visit a couple of different little towns and all of that, and it'll be really nice. But I'm staying here because of that. But I thought while my video is exporting, because I've spent most of the morning editing, I would show you my knitting progress for the week and talk a bit about the projects I've currently got on the needles. I will also give you a bit of a better journaling update later because I am planning on doing some more journaling. I've showed a little bit of that I think yesterday, and then I did some journaling the other day at a cafe, but I would like to do some more. The gist of it is I'm having a really good time in the A5. Well, actually, let's start with this one. I finished the vest that I think I've shown certainly in the last couple of videos. Is my obsidian vest. I finished it earlier this week. It's looking so lovely. I cannot wait to wear this. It's almost dry, so I'm gonna put it back on the drying rack once I finish filming this, but I'm hoping it dries so I can wear it tomorrow, like over top of a nice shirt. I think it'll look really cute, and then hopefully I can get some nice pictures of it. The bow isn't done up, but I did the mohair bow and it looks so cute. Maybe I'll, once it's actually dry, I'll insert some pictures or give you a little video tomorrow to show you how it actually looks, but I'm really happy with that. So that's project number one that I finished earlier this week. My main focus for the week has kind of been my gift knit Celeste sweater. So I'm working on this as a gift knit for my best friend. He specifically requested it in January of last year because I made myself one. It was kind of like my Christmas jumper for last year, and he was like, can you make me one for next year? And so this has been in the plans for a while. I think it's looking quite good. I'm quite happy with the colour combination. We went through and picked all of the colours together. I'm using all knitting for olive yarn. Some of it is the heavy merino, which is the kind of DK weight, and then some of it, the grey and the white, which is the main colour, are just a regular merino, and I'm holding them a double because for the main colour, the white, I believe this is colour Snowflake. They don't make this in the heavy merino, and I specifically wanted the brightest white I could find, so it wouldn't clash with the rest of the cooler tones. I think Knitting for Olive have a lot of really nice creams, but I didn't think they would go well with the rest of the cool tones. And then the grey, I think this is pearl grey. I also got the fingering weight of this because I want to use the leftovers for a pair of mittens or something, and I have some more fingering weight yarn that I could pair it with, whereas I wouldn't really know what to do with it if it were DK. Or at least, especially if I end up having 40 meters of DK, I'd rather have 80 meters of fingering weight yarn. In any case, I've been working on a colour work. I do think it's looking a little bit stripy, it's got a very distinctive dark stripe going down the middle that I don't know how I feel about, but I think the bottom section of the colour work is a little bit better blended in, so I think I'm gonna wait and finish the colour work, and then I'll try it on and see how I feel about it when it's on, even though it's not actually my size. It's gonna be a bit loose, and I'll get a couple of second opinions and see how we all feel about it, and then decide if I'm happy with it or if I want to frog and change the colour placement in the chart, which I'm not entirely opposed to. I think the beginning looks fine. I like the beginning. I just feel like it's a very dark stripe just all the way down the middle, and I don't know how I feel about that. But we'll see what my mum and a couple of friends think, and then decide. Other than that, I really need to get to finish these socks. I was hoping to finish them earlier this week, and then it's just not really happened. But I've done the leg of my second Augustine's Cables number 2 sock, which is looking so beautiful, and I really want to just have them and be able to wear them. And then I did the heel flap and heel turn, but I've actually messed up the heel turn because this is more stitches that I normally do for socks, because I went up a few pattern sizes so I could go down a needle size to make them a bit denser. And so I've got 72 stitches on the needles as opposed to what I normally do, which is 64. So I changed the stitch counts for the heel turn in my first one, and I wrote it down, and I didn't remember for the second one that I'd changed it and written it down, and so I just did the like my usual thing. But it's only like the tiniest bit that I'm gonna have to frog and redo. So that's definitely in the cards for today, and then I need to pick up and start the gusset because I want them done. I was actually also going to start working on a different red project. I've got one ball of knitting for Olive Merino in the colourway Claret left over from a camisole that I made over the summer. I bought 3 balls of it and only ended up using 2. And I don't want to keep this aside for like next year and buy more and then maybe have them, well, certainly have them be different dye lots, but I've heard knitting for Olive dye lots can change quite a bit, so I kind of just wanted to use it for a standalone project. And I really want to make the daisy chain scarf. I will put the pattern designer on screen because I can't remember it at the moment, but it's a really lovely like lace. I think there's bubbles, I don't think there's actual cables over it, but it's like a really lovely scarf. I'm going to make like the small version because I made a tiny scarf last year. I made the poet scarf, it's hanging off my easel, with some leftovers actually from the pigment I used from this jumper, but it's quite stiff because the yarn I used is quite stiff. It's not got a lot of drape, and it's also just a little bit small, so it's quite difficult to tie and to wear comfortably. Whereas I think this would make for a really light, really drapey kind of tiny scarf that would be really handy to have. And I was going to start it yesterday, but I realised I need 3.5mm needles for this, but my 3.5mm needles are on a different shawl project that I'm working on. It's a drum shawl. So I can't actually start it. It's probably a good thing because I've got a bunch of whips going on at the moment anyways, but I don't want to like put that on like a scrap yarn or a different set of needles and like put it on pause because it's like my lecture knitting. But the rows have gotten so long and I still probably have like 18 or 20 rows left to go, and then the lace border. But the lace border I know is going to be really fun and really engaging to work on. It might just be a while until I actually do get to working on the lace border, and so I've put the daisy chain scarf aside for a while. So the main focus at the moment is going to be these socks. These need to get done. And then I also have another pair of socks that's been on pause since August. The first one's already in my sock drawer, but I've got the cuff for the second, and these are the Oodie socks by Sara Nordland. I just put them on pause because I went on holiday and I bought a different project, and then I was so excited about autumn knitting and I started working on all of the things, and these just got put aside. But I also really want to finish these because I have a lot of shorty-ish pairs of socks. I don't have a lot of really tall socks that are very comfortable to wear with boots. And so as we're heading into the cooler season, I really want to just finish a couple of these. I also don't really know. I've been trying to think about what kind of socks I would like to cast on next. I'm not sure. I have a few like cable sock patterns that I would really like to make, but they're all toe up, and I don't know if I feel like doing a toe up sock. The other thing that I was thinking about is I might make a second pair of poet socks, again by Sara Nordland, because I made one last year and I only wear those at home, but I would like to make some in a little bit of a sturdier yarn and a little bit tighter, because I made them on, I think it's the recommended 2.5mm needles, but they're just a little bit loose. I don't know if doing 60 stitches on 2.25 will be too tight though, so I might try, but I think those would be a really fun pair of socks to cast on next. I don't know, I had a lot of plans for Socktober, and then October has just been such an incredibly busy month that really all I've done is knit like a sock and a half so far, which is fine, it's okay, it's a really beautiful pair of socks, but I definitely do want to be making more. I'm also going to be starting a test knit relatively soon. I still need to order the yarn for it, but I'm going to do that next week, and then just a few other bits and bobs, but these are kind of the main projects I've been working on for the week so far. I think I am going to get to a little bit more editing. I'm going to start editing this video. I have some uni notes that I would like to go through this morning, and then we can have a really nice and chill afternoon of knitting. Why is the sun just disappeared out of the sky? Sorry if the clips turn really dark all of a sudden, but I'm going to have a really nice chill afternoon of knitting, catch up on some videos, do a little bit of journaling, and maybe draw a bit. I haven't drawn in so long. It's hard to keep up with all of the hobbies. If you're a hobby person as well, you'll know there's never enough time for them all. But I've got time today, so that might be a nice thing that I get to do.
Hi. It's been a little while since I've recorded a voiceover for a video, so hopefully it doesn't feel too awkward or anything. But I wanted to talk a bit about journaling because I filmed a really long journaling session and no talking about it because it got too dark. But I don't think I've spoken about the A5 yet after introducing it a couple of videos ago, and I really, really wanted to talk about it because I'm having such a good time with it. I think at the time I filmed this video, I'd probably only been using it for, 10 days. It was maybe my second week of using the book. Now it's been just a little over a month. I'm a little behind with editing, but I'm catching up. I'm having the best time with it. I think I like the size as it is, and the freedom that it brings with it, but also it's just so lovely to feel really at home in a book. obviously I've had a great time with the Traveler's Notebook recently as well, and I think Traveler's Notebook is something that I will always come back to. It's a format I really like, and I've found a type of insert that I really, really enjoy, which is the same insert I've ended up getting in the A5 format. I normally get the 60-page version for the Traveler's Notebook. I got the 120-page version for this one, just so it would feel a bit sturdier, and also so I could use it as a standalone book for a while, hopefully. But it feels so much better than the A6 did pretty much majority of the year. And I think I was considering A5 for a long time, and for a long time I especially was considering the Hobonichi cousin instead of the A6 cousin, or well, the A6 Hon, or original. And I was afraid that would be too much space, and that certainly would have been too much space, and a lot of it would have gone to waste, because as I went on and I kept using the A6, even the A6 felt constrictive in one sense, because when I had things to write about, the A6 didn't give me enough space to do so. But at the same time, it felt too big, because I didn't have so much to write about every day. I like in my head, I really love the idea of a dated sort of daily journal, and I almost completed one. My 2023 one is pretty much full. It's exploding and it's so lovely and full of memories, and I'm really glad that I have something like that to look back on. And I think it might be a nice thing to have every once in a while, like a year, I don't know, every 5th year or something like that, as a record of my life at the time, as a really full record of it. But at the same time, it sort of became more of a chore than anything, and something that I didn't really enjoy doing daily, and that I often forgot about. And I always just felt pressure around it, and it wasn't enjoyable anymore. The A5, the undated A5, I think gives me a lot of space to play around with ideas and layouts and things, and I'm still sort of figuring it all out. It's only been a month, but I like the freedom that it gives me in terms of that. I like being able to keep a lot of pictures in one page or in one spread, that would have otherwise taken so many pages in the A6, or I would have had to print them so tiny. I like being able to layer and being able to print pictures in a lot of different sizes. Even the ephemera that I get given from, I don't know, tickets or whatever. I don't know if I've put a ticket in here yet, but I had like a business card. I had a little tea bag, things like that. They only take up a small amount of space on the page, and so you can still build the page around it, and you're not constricted to a very rigid layout, because the ephemera takes up the whole space. So that's been very nice. It's been very nice to be able to use a lot of stickers, and I'm really enjoying that. I actually have to reprint a bunch soon, I think. But at the same time, because it is not dated, I don't find it overwhelming at all. I've kind of figured out a nice way to break up the pages if I need to. Oftentimes I'll just use the entire page, or do like a full spread when I sit down to journal, maybe a couple of times a week. But I've had a bunch of instances where I've only done like a half page, and then I just draw a line, and then I stamp my date stamp again for the new entry, and that's been working really well. I also don't have any pages yet that are just text. I pretty much always have printouts, or at least a sticker or a little something to break the text up. I think a full spread of text, especially with the 3.7mm grid that I have in this book, would be a lot. And it would also be really difficult to look back on, because it's not, I don't know, I like having pictures in my books. I think it makes it very clear. It gives you a very clear impression of what's going on, and it contextualizes things a lot better for me, as opposed to just text. I think just text for me doesn't work very well. I had a journal when I was in England, for example, where I didn't really have the possibility to print out many things, and so I would just write, but I drew a lot in it, and I I had a lot of like, I just had a lot of sketches in it, to be honest, and so I think that helped contextualize things. But also I was using it as I was planning art projects and stuff, and so that's a lot of like diagrams and all of that. You know, they contextualize the entries and stuff, and I really like that, and I think the pictures for me do the same in these books. But the long story short is that I'm having a wonderful time with it. I love the quality of the books. I've mentioned this many times. The A5 is no different. I have now put the book in a cover. You will see that in towards the end of next week's video, and I go a bit more in depth in the video that I'm filming as the week that I'm recording this as well. But I've now put it in a cover as well, so I can kind of keep all of my ephemera organized and I can keep the book a bit protected. But other than that, I am really happy to have a book that I reach for actively and that I have such a fun time with it. I think at some point the Traveler's Notebook might come back into play as well, and I might kind of use them side by side. I don't know. I think the Traveler's Notebook is something I always circle back to. It's a size I have a lot of fun with. I have a bunch of inserts still, and kind of whenever I want to go back to it, I will. But it's been really nice to have so much space, and I think the A5 format is so balanced and it's so cool. And I've been wanting to try it for so long that I'm just having the best time with it. So that's been really, really fun. The other thing that I've been thinking about is that sometimes I think part of the pressure that I put on myself to journal, and part of the reason why I've fallen out of my journaling routines this year, was maybe kind of tied to the A6 and kind of the idea that I have to journal daily and that I have to record all of the events. But I think what I've realized is that sort of idea that I have of having to record all of the things that happen. If I go out to dinner and I take a nice picture, then I want to print it and put it in my journal. But oftentimes what happens is that I've only got the picture and I don't necessarily want to sit down and journal about it. And so I will end up printing the picture and then that will just stay there. And next time I go to journal, I will feel like I have to catch up on the pictures that I've already printed out before I can journal about anything else. And it just creates a weird loop that I don't know, it's completely unnecessary. Those pictures are not gonna erase themselves just because I don't print them out for my journal. I can keep them archived digitally. I don't have to have everything analog. I love the analog practice and I'm really dedicated to keeping up this practice because I think it is so important. But at the same time, one doesn't exclude the other. And I don't know why I kind of hadn't clocked it before, but I was thinking about it over the weekend. I was like, oh, I think that is why I have not been journaling consistently all year. So we're no longer going to do that. And I think with this book that I'm so actively reaching for, I've not really felt like that about it. And I don't know. It all just kind of came together. It's going really well. I would love to know if you are still in the journals that you said you would be at the beginning of the year. If you're still listening, please leave a comment about that. I would be very curious about it. And if you have any plans for 2026, I know we're nearing the end of the year. All of the pre-orders have already been and gone and all of that. I've not bought anything for 2026 specifically. I do need to get a Hobonichi Weeks. I've seen that on the website that I normally get mine from, the one that I would like is still available. They don't have the Japanese version anymore. They've got the English. I'm probably just going to end up getting the English and it's going to be whatever. But they've still got the black gingham one. But I've not ordered it yet because I kind of wanted to settle in the A5 first and make sure I felt okay about it and see if I had anything else that I wanted to pick up. I think I might have to pick up an archive binder for my Traveler's Notebook inserts because I've got a bunch that might need archiving that I think are just sitting besides the archive binders at the moment. And I'll see if I need to get anything fountain pen related. I think I have ink, but I'll have a look. And anything else. I'd like to get maybe an A5 pencil board, but I don't particularly like any of the Hobonichi ones, and I've not seen any other ones that I like on Etsy either. So, like, if you know where I could find just a plain black A5 pencil board, please let me know. I might just end up making it myself if I can't find it, but I think that would be nice. it would kind of complete the setup really nicely. In any case, that's the update for you. I've been rambling on for far too long. I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you soon with a new video with some knitting updates and some journaling updates and all of the things. I hope that you're well. Bye bye.